Good morning, everyone, and thanks for listening as always. And we start off our day, and we thank somebody specifically in Casa Grande, or is it Casa Grande? Either way, same
Casa
town.
Grande.
Well, that's
There
I
you
say
go.
that me. I'm with you, Casa Grande. So if you're in Casa Grande, thanks for listening this hour. We surely do appreciate it. We have got to start off with what happened at the Trump rally. RFK Jr. made an appearance. First of all, it was very funny because they came out to the song Hero, I think, by the Foo Fighters. My Hero, yeah, by the Foo Fighters. And I really like the Foo Fighters. I really like that band. But apparently they were angry because they weren't supposed to use the song. And then the Trump campaign came out and said, we licensed the song. We got the license for the song. So then the band felt stupid, and they should. And they said, well, we're going to donate the licensing fee to the Harris Walls campaign. So diving into politics, probably not the best thing to do. I think Michael Jordan's quote was probably the best when it came to this stuff. Michael Jordan was asked to endorse a candidate in North Carolina, and he said no. This was back in his heyday, and they asked him why not, and Michael Jordan very famously said, because Republicans buy shoes too, and he just wanted to stay out of it. And I think that's pretty wise. If you're in that entertainment industry, I can look past it. I mean, I'm still going to listen to the Foo Fighters. They're not boycotted on this show. I like their music. I just think it's a dumb thing to do to stir up a political debate in a hotly contested race, because what you do is you anger part of your audience. But that's the least of what happened. RFK Jr. talked about joining the Trump campaign and that he will actively campaign with Donald Trump. He said, we have very big differences, but we have a chance to do something different. He talked about his in his announcement. He talked about he's only suspending his campaign. This was an interesting statement that he made. He suspended his campaign.
I want everyone to know that I am not terminating my campaign. I am simply suspending it and not ending it.
Not ending it. He talked about people voting for him. He said in 10 swing states, he is pulling his name from the ballot. But in other states, he's encouraging people to vote for him and said that there is a pathway where both Donald Trump and Vice President Harris will tie in electoral votes, and then by some circumstance, he would become president, possibly, even though he admitted that was a long shot. But he's taking his name off the ballot in 10 swing states, and he is going to actively campaign for Donald Trump. Here is him talking about that endorsement.
Three great causes drove me to enter this race in the first place, primarily. And these are the principal causes that persuaded me to leave the Democratic Party and run as an independent, and now to throw my support to President Trump. The causes were free speech, the war in Ukraine, and the war on our children.
So what's interesting about this, and this is, again, what I find interesting about cable news, we've heard nothing but great things about the Republicans for Harris. You've got, with no, and I mean absolutely no respect to the mayor of Mesa. He's going to join us on the show tomorrow. I know him, but he's the mayor of a town in Mesa, Arizona. He's not a presidential candidate. RFK Jr. comes from not just a Democrat family, but before the Clintons, they were the leading Democrat family in the nation. And then that power, not power, but that prestige was kind of passed on to the Clintons, and now it's been passed on to the Obamas. They are the face of the Democratic Party. Well, the Kennedys for decades were the face of the Democratic Party. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. endorsing Donald Trump for president and laying out the reasons why, is that going to shift the minds of some people? Or at least does it offset this language as we continue to hear Republicans for Gallego and Republicans for Harris? And so is this now, are we going to get away from some of those talking points and start getting down to business? Now, RFK Jr. said that he believes that President Trump will be better for America.
Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
And then he said he's going to be better for the economy.
And don't you want a president who's going to get us out of the wars and who's going to rebuild the middle class in this country?
So that I do think that there is something to that. And it's not going to be huge. This isn't going to be earth-shattering. But what it's going to do, I think, is balance things. You've heard, and this is exactly how it's supposed to go. The Democrats did a much better job with their honeymoon phase than the Republicans did. For whatever reason, the Democrats had a better honeymoon period. But now it's time for the marriage, and here we go. And so now we are going to see the two camps talk about things. Now, RFK's sister, Kerry Kennedy, says she doesn't trust Trump.
If Donald Trump promised him the moon today, that would Donald Trump deliver that?
So again, now it's like throw your brother under the bus. He only did it because he was promised something, and he won't keep his promises. So she said, I can't believe my brother endorsed Donald Trump.
I just am outraged and disgusted by my brother's actions. I think it's a gaudy and obscene embrace of Donald Trump. I love Bobby. I abhor what he did.
So what's interesting, and I think this is the most interesting part, because she talks about her father, their father.
Were he alive today, I think the real Robert Kennedy would have detested almost everything Donald Trump represents.
And that's what's fascinating. And I don't disagree with her necessarily. What's fascinating about this is Mayor Giles and others, Ruben Gallego, have invoked the name of the late Senator John McCain. And they all talk about John McCain, have some respect. And I tell you, I didn't know John McCain like many others have, but I knew him fairly well. I knew him certainly as well as, if not better than most people in the media. He was very kind to me. We had private conversations about things, and he invited me into his office the day before the Trump inauguration. I did a television interview with him, and then I spent probably an hour and a half in his office, which may not seem like a long time, but I'm telling you, to get an hour and a half of a senator's time is a big deal. And we talked about a lot of different things. And I would say the same thing about John McCain. John McCain would never vote for Vice President Harris, nor would he vote for Ruben Gallego. He would respect Ruben Gallego's service. He would treat him respectfully, certainly about his military service, but there's not a chance in the world he would advocate for nor vote for Ruben Gallego. And he certainly would never have voted over a Republican. He said he didn't like Donald Trump. He didn't make any bones about it. He didn't hide from it. He didn't run from it. He didn't like him. But he said publicly many times, and he said it to me privately, watch what he does, not what he says. He said he didn't like the guy, but he assembled the best cabinet he'd seen since Ronald Reagan. My point is, are we going to set aside now all this stuff? RFK Jr. is going to be out there advocating. You've got other Republicans going to advocate for Harris. And in the end, does it matter at all? And if the answer is they offset each other, it doesn't matter, because we're going to talk about the border in a little bit, see if these opposing bills offset each other. In the end, are we going to have the two candidates talk about issues and what their vision is for America? You've got 4 years of President Trump and his record as president of the United States. You've got 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration and their record. You have what they both have said publicly about what they want to do and what they will do. And then you have all of this now policy statements, all of their policy statements being posted online. Let's get to the questions. Let's sit down. Let's see the two candidates debate. There's arguments now about the debate rules, but I imagine they're still going to debate. And let's see what happens. But there's no doubt that the RFK Jr. endorsement mattered. And I can tell you it mattered because everybody's talking about it. One side is saying this is amazing, and the other side is saying, oh, this doesn't mean anything. This doesn't hold. Let's go run to Kerry Kennedy and ask her what she thinks. Let's make sure we put out there and let you know the rest of the Kennedy family hates this. And it's just interesting. So now we set things aside. In the end, the vice presidential nominees matter, but not that much. These endorsements matter, but not that much. In the end, who speaks to the American people in a way that they can believe in? And we'll see which one of these two pulls it off in the coming days.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Catch up on Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast, and click the button in the middle to subscribe.